Okay, thank you. For the third time, today's stupid joke of the day. Apparently, Wolfgang Puck is going into a cooperative business effort with NASA to open the first restaurant on the moon. Great food, no atmosphere, but we thank you very much. Thank you. That joke will be repeated throughout the day until you leave the Houston area. Now, Sylvester McCoy, who's about to come out, I know you're all Doctor Who fans. According to TARDIS data lore, was the seventh incarnation of the Time Lord known as the Doctor. The other guy known as the Doctor. Originally an eccentric and lighthearted doctor, this incarnation's jolly persona eventually darkened into that of a mysterious, cunning manipulator to properly combat the return of Fenric. Initially, the Seventh Doctor traveled with Mel, his predecessor's companion, or if you're British, his predecessor's companion. After several adventures with Mel, she left. The Doctor then began adventuring with Ace, a troubled teenager from the 1980s. The Doctor did his best to help heal Ace's psychological wounds by helping her overcome or come to terms with her past misdeeds and fears. Though he initially planned to take Ace home, they ultimately traveled together for several years, only for their blossoming friendship to grow increasingly dark as secrets and death tore them apart. The Doctor did many good deeds while under his title as Time's champion. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for my friend, Sylvester McCoy.
Oh, shall we dance? Shall we dance? Dee dee dee, da da da, la 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 la. Thank you. It's got Bob. There's the big hand for. Hello. It's good to see you all here. It's absolutely splendid to see you all here. Well, yes, my doctor was, in the beginning, comedic and chaplain-esque, some people said, and did go through a darker phase because that's what I thought I would do once I got to know what the Doctor was like, once I got to know him, because I hadn't really seen Doctor Who for many a year when I was working in the theatre principally, and we didn't have VCRs and DVDs and various other means of recording stuff. So I lost touch with Doctor Who, and then I got the job, and my normal acting was in a comic vein. And then when I put on the Doctor's mantle, I realized, wow, this is one of the great acting jobs in television, because you can take this character anywhere. And that's what I decided I would do. I wanted in the end to make him mysterious again, like the very first Doctor, because when he arrived in 1963, we had no idea who he really was. He was a mystery. And there was something cranky about him and dangerous, and I wanted to bring that back to my Doctor. I wanted my Doctor also to have bits and bobs of all the other previous Doctors in him. So that was my ambition for my Doctor, and that's why I took him on that journey. And now I'm going to take myself on a journey, and I'm going to come down, and I'm going to see if anyone wants to ask me any questions. If you do want to ask me any questions, just put your hand up, and I shall attempt to run over everyone's feet and get to you.
Well, do you still perform magic? Because I know that you performed magic in the episode.
I was just moving, and I didn't do a thing. It's magic. Magic. Well, yes, I've kind of performed magic. Hello. You win. I performed magic off and on in various roles before I actually got to Doctor Who. Are you going to high five, or are you just going to ask a question? Okay, okay, high five too. That's it. That's once. Yeah, I did. I can't do this really. Hello. How are you? Are you well? Great. I'm glad you said that. So anyway, yeah, I did magic. I'm not really a magician, but I knew, I had the ability to do magic tricks, and I've done all sorts of magic tricks. And vanish, and then no, you have. The thing about magic is, children, put your hands to your ears. It's not real. You have to prepare to do magic. You can't just do it at the drop of a hat. Now, wouldn't it be great if I dropped my hat and then pulled a rabbit out of it? That would be brilliant. Anyway, what about this? Oh, I'm going. But if you listen very carefully, listen. There's a little bird under there. That's what's making it go. Let's see. That might be magic. I don't know if it is. Thank you. Someone down here put the hand up as I passed by. Oh, there you are. Hello. Whee.
What was your favorite episode?
My favorite episode? Oh, I don't know really. They're all kind of, because I view it from a very different perspective from you, because I was in it, I know about it, and I see it very differently. And sometimes my enjoyment from it came from strange things. We were doing one which was called Survival. I go up here so you can see me at the back. Anyway, we were doing Survival, and Survival was set in a sandpit. I called it the deserts of Dorset. And it was 100 degrees. You thought you were really comfortable there, and I've just come along, and I'm going to run all over your legs. But anyway, can I get up? Is there room back there to go around? There's not. Okay. Anyway, Survival. We're in the deserts of Dorset. It was over 100 degrees. It was so hot. And we had lots of girls dressed up as cat people. And they were wearing, kind of fun fur cat suits, makeup. And it was over 100 degrees Fahrenheit. It was like making a spaghetti western, which I quite enjoyed, really, because, I always wanted to do a spaghetti western. Anyway, one of the girls, she completely couldn't take it anymore. There was no shade. There was nowhere for her to, for them to get out of the heat, being the BBC. I was all right. I had an umbrella. I put it up, and they shaded me. People used to say, "Why do you have that silly umbrella?" And I soon found out. Anyway, this girl really couldn't bear it, so she stripped off her fun fur costume and ran and pulled off all her makeup and was last seen running over a sand dune. The only thing was she forgot she was only wearing a thong. So I think that was one of my favorite stories.
Actually, a statement and a question. When I first moved here in '75, the very first British television show was Vision On. And to this day, I want to thank you and Tony and Pat for actually inspiring me to become an artist, because I am now a graphic artist and graphic designer. And if it wasn't for you guys, I don't know that I would have chosen that field of path. So thank you very much for doing that television show. I fondly remember it. Yes, sir. Second off, I just recently watched an interview with Tom Baker. He said something that was very, very interesting that I thought. When you guys get together for conventions and stuff, it's funny how, as an actor, you'll sit there and you might comment on their Macbeth or you might comment on their Hamlet, but you will not comment on each other's doctors. Why is that?
Well, I mean, from Tom's perspective, if one does comment on the Doctor and doesn't comment on his with glowing reviews, he wouldn't be very happy. I don't know, really. No, that's not true. I mean, well, I suppose in a way, yeah, we're all friends. We all get together, we chat and, you know, kind of talk about it. But, yeah, I enjoy, you know, the other Doctors very much. I was privileged to be 2 Doctors because Colin Baker forgot to turn up for the regeneration. And so they put me in his costume. Of course, they lost me for 3 days because he's a big fella. And, yeah, okay, that's true. We don't comment on each other's things very much.
I like your coat.
Thank you, Hen. That was a Scottish accent, wasn't it?
If your Doctor could have travelled with any other Doctor for one adventure, who would it have been?
Oh, right. I suppose Patrick Troughton, because he was the first one I ever saw, and I quite liked him. I liked him a lot. Yeah, I would like to have travelled with Patrick Troughton. Although, I would really have liked to travel with all of them in the 50th anniversary, which is coming up. But that is not happening. No, don't get excited. Sadly, the BBC producers have decided not to do that one. But Big Finish, they do the audio plays of Doctor Who. They've decided to do it. So I think they've dug up John Pertwee and, you know, and William Hartnell. William Hartnell was even grumpier than usual.
I was interested in the process of making a Big Finish audio, and one thing I'd like to know in particular is if you record your dialogue with the other actors or separately.
Mostly. Principally, we all work together. I mean, yeah. But sometimes we can't get, you know, sometimes there have been 4... Hello?
Hello.
Oh. And so, yeah, we record them together generally in the studio. But now and again, I've done some where, you know, I couldn't make that day, and neither could Colin or Peter or Jay, you know, and so for those 4 or 5 Doctor ones. So, yeah. Anyway, anyone over here want to ask a question? Well, I'm leaving then. Wee.
I was wondering, in the Happiness Patrol, why was the TARDIS pink?
Well, I think it's a bit sexist, that, wasn't it? Well, it's just pink's the ladies, girls, colour. And we were on, you know, a planet to run by ladies. And, you know, I think, did everyone have to wear pink? I'm not sure, really. I can't remember it much. But I think that was why, really. It was just to, you know, blend in with a pink planet run by a rather unpleasant lady who was based on Mrs. Thatcher. I'm happy to say.
Tell us about the spoons. Was it intentional? Was it a device for the Doctor? You just wanted to have fun?
The spoons. Well, what happens with the spoons was that John Nathan Turner liked to have a party, the producer, and we were on location. And every time we went on location, we used to have a party. And that was when Bonnie was there. And Bonnie's a great song and dance artist. She's absolutely stunning on the stage. If you ever got a chance to see Bonnie, she's a real glorious diva of musicals. She's just joyful. Anyway, Bonnie was singing, and I suddenly got out the spoons and started playing them. And so John Nathan Turner said, "Wow, we've got to have that in Doctor Who." And I thought he was joking. And then along comes a scene, and there I am, looking inside a machine, and there are 2 spoons. And I take them out and play them all over Kate O'Mara's front. And my goodness, did those spoons bounce.
I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about Anthony Ainley and your relationship with him.
Anthony, yes. He was a wonderful actor. He came from a long line of great thespians of the British stage. But the thing was that when he became the master, he suddenly realized this was the only role he ever wanted to play in the rest of his life. No, he did really. I mean, he used to go to conventions and, he'd make sure that he slipped the odd telephone number or room number to the odd pretty girl and encouraged them to phone him up. And he'd pick up the phone and say, "Hello, this is the master." Some of them like that. Anyway. But working with him was quite interesting because we did again, it was Survival, the one with the girl and the thong, and we were in the desert. It was over 100 degrees. It was incredibly hot, and I had that ridiculous question mark pullover on, which everyone loves except me. And round the stage, we were on a stage, and round it were flames coming up just to add to the horror of the sweat and this discomfort of it all. Also, at the last minute, they decided that I was going to wear cat's eyes. In the story, the others had gone to, get their eyes tested and got the contact lenses made to measure. But that very day, they said, "Oh no, we just realized in the story you should look as if you're going to turn into a cat." So they just gave me someone else's contact lenses. Oh. It was also very sandy where we were. And so there was sand in the contact lenses. And then they stuck them in my eyes and said, "Act." And Anthony had a big femur, a big bone in his hand. And he was, he was fighting me and hitting me, boing, boing, like that. And he was bashing me and I was trying, I couldn't see. So I kept missing it. So I was like, bow, ow. I mean, it was for real. And I thought, wait a minute, what's happened to acting? So it was quite interesting working with Anthony Ainley. He nearly killed me. But he was an elegant and, kind of nice gentleman, I must say. But he wanted to be the master. And I'm coming along here. Oh, there we are.
Well, you just answered us about how you felt about the vest, but whose idea was it?
Yes, the vest. Well, the costume. The vest was John Nathan Turner's idea, really. I just thought it was overstated. There were too many question marks, and I thought people will keep asking when you arrive back on the planet. They'd say, "Why are you wearing all those question marks? What do they all mean?" No one in the scripts did, really, because that's why he most likely censored it. I think that the pullover was made by his granny. And that, he kind of sold the rights, so that she could earn a few bob. But if I'd had my way, I'd have got rid of it earlier. The fourth season, if we'd have done the fourth season, I would have got rid of it. My idea was the umbrella. That was mine. Because when I arrived as Doctor Who, Colin's doctor had left an umbrella around. It was a golf umbrella. And then I suddenly thought, wow, I'd quite like to keep an umbrella. I like props, and I thought I could do things with the umbrella. And then eventually we discussed it, and I said, well, the handle, if we're going to have a question mark, let's have it on the handle. It's more subtle in a way, I thought. So that's why. But then we ended up with having so many question marks. The whole thing was a question mark, really. There, I'm coming down again. Whee! I'm only doing this for my sake. I don't care about you. This is such fun. Right. Anyway, question. You got your hand up? Or you just...
So what made you decide to come back for the TV movie? You didn't really have to.
Well, no, I did in a way, because I had to do the regeneration scene from Doctor 6 into Doctor 7, and I thought, well, I swore to myself I would do the regeneration scene no matter what it was, from Doctor 7 into Doctor 8. And so that's why, I came back to do that, really. And when they were making it in the States, I thought, well, that'd be quite interesting. Canada, really, but it was a Hollywood production. But I thought, wow, that'd be fun. So I said yes. I expected that they would just give me, a scene under the opening credits. And then they sent me the script, and it was quite a lot in the script. I thought, yeah, I'll do that. So I signed the contract, and then they sent me another script. That's what they do, really. And there was much less to do. But anyway, I'd already signed the contract. That's the kind of blackguards they are, these people. But anyway, that was it. I was committed. I was going to do it, and I was going to do it, and I was delighted to do it. It was the contrast between doing Doctor Who for the BBC and doing Doctor Who for, Universal or whoever it was astonishing. I mean, normally I used to change my costume in some toilet somewhere at the BBC, but here they gave me a Pantechnicon and I could live in it with me and, my whole family and my ancestors. It was so big. I enjoyed that immensely. So that was cool. I thought that was really cool.
Why did the Daleks want the hand of Omega?
Well, they haven't got any hands themselves. Yes. Does anyone know? Do you know? Why did they want the hand of Omega? I think it was a handy thing to have. It was just on hand. They wanted to hand it from one to the other. I cannot think. Wait a minute, do you know the answer to that? Maybe you do. Do you know the answer to that?
No, I have no idea.
Well, could you look it up on that thing you're playing with and find out? Does anyone know? Anyone put your hand up? The person who might know why they wanted the hand of Omega.
Essentially, they wanted to be Time Lords. Power of time travel.
Did you get that?
No, I didn't get it.
Turn that round. Because they wanted to be Time Lords. Now, wait a minute, I'm going to hypnotize you. So you don't realize that the bit in between you're asking the question.
Hypnotizable.
Unhypnotizable.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, you didn't realize that I didn't know the answer to that. And all that bit in between, finding out it was just didn't exist. Go back to sleep. Go back to your... Any questions along here? Hands up.
Before Doctor Who came back later, you were the final Doctor of the entire series for a time. How did it feel to be like the end of the era, to be that Doctor?
Well, I didn't really like the feeling when it finished. I was very sad. And I worked, Ace and I, and various other fans who've now become, who work with and for Doctor Who television, but they were fans at the time, got together and we carried on making audio dramas and videos. And we changed the Doctor to the Professor because of copyright reasons. And so we kind of tried to keep it alive. But I wasn't happy with being the last. Many people said it would never return. But I had a feeling it would. And so, there we are. Exterminate. Exterminate. I am the Emperor of the Daleks. You will leave this room and go to the toilet. Bathroom.
How did you like being, this is a Lord of the Rings question maybe, how did you like being Radagast?
Radagast, yes. Radovac sounds cleaner. It sounds like a vac. What? Can I turn into a bear? Yeah, you should see me after a few drinks, my God. No, it was great. Great. Radagast was such a wonderful role. I remember when they said they wanted me to do it, and I rushed home, because it had been years since I read The Hobbit. So I rushed home, and I opened the book, and I thought, where is he? Oh, dear. But then Peter Jackson invited me for tea, and then he said, look, we'd really like you to play the role of Radagast. And we've taken other parts of the writers, kind of writings, and we've made the part bigger. And we talked about the fact that I was originally up for Bilbo Baggins in Lord of the Rings. And there was about 600 people, actors. Anyway, it came down to 2 over a year. It slowly went down. And then the 2 were myself and then someone else who I didn't know who it was. They wouldn't tell me who it was. So it was between us, we 2. And when I heard it was Ian Holm, I was sad I didn't get the part, but I was also delighted to be in his company because he's such an amazing actor. You know, to be thought kind of nearly equal to Ian Holm was just glorious. So we talked about the fact I didn't get Bilbo Baggins, and he said, yes, but what we've done is we've written you a bigger part. And so that was nice to know. So, you know, obviously Radagast was going to be a bit bigger than Bilbo. And he is actually, physically, when you think about it, isn't it?
What would you consider to be your greatest accomplishment in your career?
Zooming about on this thing, it's great. My greatest accomplishment, I think, has been the fact that I have been an actor from 1969, and I've hardly ever been unemployed, which is, in my profession, a difficult thing to do. It's, especially in Britain, we have many actors and not enough jobs. But I've been very lucky, and I suppose I've been lucky is because I've been quirky and strange, and you know, I wasn't a matinee idol. I mean, I was idle, but not at matinees. But anyway, a terrible joke. I shall leave now. So yeah, I was. I think that just keep going. I'm still working. I'm still here. And I've done an immense, various different types of roles. I've done everything from street theatre, from busking, right up to grand opera. I've been in Shakespeare plays, I've been in modern plays, I've had plays written for me, musical parts written for me, I've done operetta, I've done... once the producer of Doctor Who looked at my CV and said, "You've done everything in this business except ballet." And now, there's no chance. I know. Do 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 do. I could maybe do. Hey. Anyway, that's it. That's my ballet. I've done everything. No, but I have. That's another. I mean, you know, I'm so proud of the fact. I've always had this thing about being unable to say no. I always say yes. I mean, thank God I wasn't a girl. But anyway, I've always said yes, and and it's taken me in such interesting routes. And as I say, I have done everything. And I've been, I can't think of anything that I haven't done except ballet. And, well, I've just done it now. A ballet for the wheelchair. Do you fancy a dance? So, any more others? Like, woo!
What's your real name?
I'm not telling you. What's your real name? I like that. It's a great voice. What's my real name? My real name is Percy James Patrick Kent-Smith. Yeah. That's why I'm called Sylvester McCoy. It's easier. No, when I was born, my father was an Englishman, my mother was Irish. My mother was Molly Sheridan. But my father was Percy James Kent-Smith. And the Patrick was stuck in for the Irish bit when I come along. But when I grew up, I was kind of orphaned, and the Sheridans, the battling Sheridans of Dunoon, brought me up, and they called me Kent, and I thought my name until the age of 11 was Kent Smith. And then in school, the teacher said that we needed to go home and find out if we had any middle names to fill in forms to go to the secondary school. So I went home, and I said, "Of any middle names?" And they said, "Well, I think you better sit down. Because your real name is Percy James Patrick Kent-Smith. Now, I come from Scotland, and it's, the Highlands, and there's a lot of Scottish nationalists there, and, some of them don't like the English. And here was I discovering, I thought Kent-Smith, that's a great name, because Kent is also a Scottish word. It means known. He's well Kent. Kent, fine, what you mean. And so Kent, I grew up thinking, was a Scottish thing. But there's also the county of Kent in England, and I think that's where this Kent came into my name. So anyway, I thought, Kent Smith, I was happy being Smith. Then suddenly I've got this double-barreled name. Also, I came from a kind of a lower-class area, and to have a double-barreled name, well, that was death. They kill you. Bang. The class system in Britain, you might not understand it really, but it's very confusing and can be dangerous. So I suddenly had this terrible name. Percy was another terrible name to have, because the Percys used to invade, the tribe of Percys used to invade Scotland regularly from the north of England. Hotspur, he was a Percy in Henry the Fourth, Fifth. So that was a big problem. I had this. So when I went back to school, people were there, asked to get up and give their middle names. And there was a guy called Donald MacDonald, and he stood up and, what was your middle name? He said, Donald MacDonald. So that was, a highly imaginative family, if you know what I mean. I stood up and cried. I couldn't tell them, and then I couldn't say it out loud. I mean, it was a complete shock. And I think that was my first nervous breakdown. I've had many since. No, I haven't. I couldn't say this terrible, appalling name that was weighing down on me. And I had to go out and whisper to the teacher what my name was and make a promise not to tell anyone. Because I would have been beaten black and blue in the playground if anyone had known I got a name that was so English, so posh, so double-barreled. And so, anyway, I eventually, when I started acting, I only had, my very first acting role was with the Ken Campbell Roadshow, a group that was with Bob Hoskins was in it, and Dave Hill and Jane Wood and Jane and Ken Campbell and all that. And I called myself for the first year Kent Smith. Then eventually we did a circus, and in it we learned lots of skills. And then we got back together again, and I suggested we make a show that would go around pubs and clubs and small theatres. And Ken Campbell said, yeah, that's a good idea. We'll make a stunt show. And in this, I played the stuntman. I used to bang nails up my nose. I used to explode bombs in my chest, set light to my head. I used to be able to nut a potato into 1,000 pieces. I used to try and break the world record for having a ferret down my trousers. That's why I wear a kilt. And I used to do all sorts of stunts. I had bricks broken on my chest. You name it, I did it. And it was a very successful show. We toured all over Europe, and it was a great success. And Ken said, we called the character Sylvester McCoy. We were playing London, and terribly posh critics were coming, and he said, it'd be really great if the audience thought that you were real, that you weren't an actor playing the role, but you were actually the real McCoy. So he said, it'd be good if we put that in the program, Sylvester McCoy by Sylvester McCoy. And so that's what we did. And they believed it. And then I thought, wow, because it got reviews. Sylvester McCoy, played by the real Sylvester McCoy. Well, I thought, I think I'll keep that. So I kept that as my name, my stage name. And I think it's been a good one. It's a very memorable one, and it worked. I mean, Sylvester came from a song. Have you heard about the big strong man who lives in a caravan? Have you heard about the Jeffrey Johnson fight? When that great black American beat the white, you can bring all the heavyweights you got, 'cause we got a little man to beat the lot. He plays the organ in the belfry, and he wants to fight Jack Dempsey. That's my brother, Sylvester. What's he got? He's got a row of 40 medals on his chest, big chest. Explored all the Arctic in his vest. He knows no rest. Bigger the arm, stronger the punch. Hellfire, son of a gun. Don't push, just shove. Plenty of room for thee and me. He's got an arm as big as a leg, a lady's leg, and a punch that will sink a battleship. Big ship. It takes all the army and the navy to put the wind up. Sylvester, boing. That was. So that's where I got the name Sylvester from. I will not tell you where I got the McCoy from. It's a very rude joke and can only be told at late midnight shows.
Just was curious, where would you personally like to travel through time and space? I know the doctor went through. I'm sorry. That's okay. I'm done.
Right, where would I like to travel through time and space? Yeah. Well, actually, I'd like to go back. I mean, I really would like to go back and see, because, history was written by the victors and it's not necessarily true, all of it. And I'd like to go back and see, bits of it and see how much of it was true. Yeah, I'd like to do that. I'd quite like to go back to Israel, the beginning of the millennium, the way back there, first millennium, and see if that were what all that was about. That'd be fascinating. I'd also would like to go forward in time. I'd like to space travel and go and find another planet as beautiful as ours. That would be a stunning thing to do. And I believe there must be, because it's universal, it goes on forever. Has to be another accident like us. No, maybe not. Maybe I'm just, the one-off accident. But I'd like to find out the answer. Yes, so that's what I'd like to do. I also like to do this. Oh, there's a hand. Woo! Behind you.
How did you hurt your foot?
How did I hurt my foot? Yes, well, what happened was in my 20s, I was trying to climb up a drain pipe into a house. I was a burglar. No, I wasn't. I didn't want to disturb people in the house, and I was a climber. I mean, I wish I would. What's that thing called where people jump from building to building and tumble? Yeah, I wish that would around when I was that age, because I would have been doing it. I loved doing that. And so I was climbing a drain pipe, and then it hadn't been raining, but somehow there was water on this roof that I grabbed onto, and I slipped, and I fell 2 stories onto a concrete path. And it all jarred me, and then I kind of crawled up the stairs and rang the doorbell, and so they opened the door and went, and then nearly closed it, and I went, I'm down here. And they went, oh, there you are. They thought I was drunk, but I wasn't. I was just kind of collapsed. But I got better, or so I thought, until 50 years later. Suddenly, I didn't get better. So what happened was I started to destroy the cartilage. That was the beginning of osteoarthritis. So, and also I carried on doing stunts and falling and tumbling and all the kind of stuff I did while I was an actor. Comedy war wounds, that's one of them. And, but this is to put it right. I finished The Hobbit, and as soon as I finished it, I went and had an operation on my ankle. What happens is it's the joint in the foot, not my ankle, it's in my foot. The joint, is cleaned out, and the 2 bones are then bolted together, and my body thinks that that's a broken bone, and so it's naturally fusing it into one bone. And that takes away the pain. But it's quite magical, isn't it? That, you can do that. You can trick the body. So I had my ankle, my foot fused, and my brain confused. Anyway, I'll come down again. Whee! Do you want to have a go? Want to go? Have a go. See what it's like. Okay. Hello. Bye-bye. Call again sometime. Have a race. My batteries are running out because I'm running around all over the place. Oh, can I get to you? I'm coming.
What's the most complicated thing you can play on the spoons?
What's the most complicated thing I can play on the spoons? Well, I have actually played the spoons to Mozart, and that's pretty complicated. I played the spoons with the London Concert Orchestra in London at the Barbican Hall, and that was great. I've played the spoons all over the place, really. The thing about the spoons is it's timpani, it's drums, it needs music, really, in a way. I don't quite know if I can play the spoons while driving this, but funny you should mention the spoons. I mean, I'll play a little bit of spoons up there so you can see it. I'll try and work out with a microphone. It's a microphone I need another hand. The hand of Omega would be very handy if I had it now. But those dastardly Daleks must have...